"Where's the rest of the money?" Chad yelled into the old lady's face. We had broken into the lady's home after hearing from a fellow convict that she had $10,000 hidden somewhere in the house. "That's all I have," she whimpered, gesturing at the meager collection of bills and coins Chad had pulled out of her purse and tossed onto the kitchen table. "Stop lying." He pressed his gun against her temple. "We know you've got more hidden somewhere. Tell us where it is and you won't get hurt." The old lady turned and looked at me. She was terrified. I could see it written all over her face. I even thought I caught a whiff of urine, making me think she had pissed her pants. "Maybe she doesn't have it," I suggested to Chad. If she was as scared as she looked, I was certain she would have given us the money if she had it. "I'm not leaving here without the money." He swung the gun in my direction. "Search the place." He gestured with the pistol. "If she won't tell us where it is, we'll just have to find it ourselves." I knew better than to protest when Chad was like this, so I started to search the kitchen, looking for something I knew that we'd never find. When I did that, Chad walked into the adjoining living room and began searching there. "Please be careful with that," the old lady begged. I turned to find Chad, holding an antique porcelain doll in his hand. "It was my daughter's," the old lady explained. "Sounds like the perfect place to hide some cash," Chad said, raising the doll over his head before slamming it down onto the hardwood floor. When the doll broke, it shattered into 100 pieces and expelled a massive cloud of fine gray dust. "You shouldn't have done that," the old lady said. "What the fuck was in that thing?" Chad yelled, brushing the dust off his clothes. "Her ashes," she replied. "I should shoot you," Chad snarled. After he spoke, I felt the room grow cold enough that I could see my breath. A few seconds later, all of the cabinets and drawers began to rattle. Before long, it felt like the whole house was shaking. "What's going on?" I looked over at the lady. "I told him to be careful," she said to me. "We should go," I called out to Chad, but my words were cut off when the door between the rooms slammed shut. "Where the fuck did you come from?" I heard Chad's muffled voice through the door. There shouldn't have been anyone in that room with him. "I live here," a young girl replied to Chad's question. "Where the fuck did you come from?" There was a brief moment of silence. "Get away from me," Chad suddenly yelled. "I mean it." His threat was followed by a gunshot. The girl giggled, and Chad screamed. It's so hard having good taste in women. I pride myself in having high standards. I'm financially secure, have a great career, exercise, and pay close attention to my health. Should I expect the women I bed to be any different? No, of course not. I would never reduce myself to such a lowly position after all the work I've put into myself. Alas, the world of today is cruel when it comes to courtship. Finding a suitable mate has been reduced to swiping left and right on our stupid cellular phones, giving us only a two-dimensional perspective of who they really are. We see a face, a body, a mask, a cheap smile, or a partially explicit photo as to assure the world that this is who they really are. In reality, we can only find out who someone is in public, in the real world, so we can see if they measure up to the quality we desire. As much as it pains me, women today seem to respond to cheap pickup lines of a sensual nature, rather than a sincere approach to finding a partner. Tonight, I try my luck with a few of my matches, using lines I've seen on the internet, and, to my surprise, I hit it off with this gorgeous redhead. She's fit, business savvy, and quick on her feet with witty responses to my sarcastic comments. This could be the one, I think to myself, and ask her out for drinks the following evening. She accepts my offer, and we plan to meet at a restaurant not too far away from my place. I dress well for the occasion, I want to make a favorable impression on this woman after all. It doesn't matter how many dates you've been on. The first one always makes you feel nervous. I make sure to pick up flowers on my way to our date. Chrysanthemums, her favorite. I arrive to the restaurant, and my goodness is she beautiful. Her curly red hair flowing just below her shoulders. Her slimming back dress, elegantly exposing the perfect amount of thigh. Her smirk of confidence, telling me she means business. We have a great evening, joking and drinking the night away. Eventually, I ask her if she would like to walk back with me to my place for an evening glass of wine. She smirks and nods her head. My heart begins to pound. I know I've won. We get back to my apartment, and after a few moments of tasting each other's lips, she asks where the restroom is so she can freshen up. I point her in the right direction, and as she heads that way, I lock the entryway door and dim the lights. I look at the direction of the restroom, and through the door, I can see her hot-blooded heart beating in her beautiful body as my fangs extend past my lips. Oh yes, I will be eating deliciously tonight. You can only find it under a specific set of circumstances. You have to be traveling by yourself. Having anyone with you could lead to rational thinking, and that just won't do. And this place simply cannot exist if faced with logic. In most cases, you're nearly out of gasoline. Perhaps you've left the highway, attempting to find that elusive gas station promised by the previous exit. The desperation you feel watching the fuel level dip below E could cloud your judgment. You'll deviate from your intended path, which brings me to the most important factor. You need to be lost, not just locationally, but mentally. The endless farmland and dilapidated barns should clue you in. They should be enough to tell you that you've entered into no man's land. Yet, you'll try your phone's GPS anyway. You'll keep one eye on the road and the other on the screen, hoping against all odds it will recalculate while you take turns and forks at random. You'll start to feel dread climbing up your stomach, that type of fear that isn't far from panic. And that's when you'll see it. At the top of a slight hill, there will be a stop sign, and beyond that, the sky drops dead. You'll park your car, rub your eyes, maybe even give yourself a good slap, but it won't change the impossibility before you, where something should be. There's nothing. Only an infinite, ghostly mist swirling before you. On shaking legs, you'll exit the vehicle, staring into the void beyond, equal parts terrified and fascinated. All logic tells you not to go near it, but remember what I said about logic. It doesn't exist here. Against your instincts, you'll find yourself standing at the edge of the world. You're so close to non-existence that you could almost reach out and touch it. And part of you wants to. Part of you begs to. But you know better. That's when the voices start. Maybe it's a loved one, or a dead relative. Maybe some celebrity you've had an infatuation with. It doesn't matter who. They will call to you. Though it's not quite enough to fool you. You keep your feet planted no matter what they say, no matter what they promise. But the mist parts, allowing you the tiniest glimpse of the other side. Maybe it's utopia. Maybe it's your children begging for help. And this time, you take a step closer. The mist clears just a little more. By now you're certain what you see is real. The last shred of your willpower dissolves. You're just across the border when a robotic voice from your pocket tells you to take the next right or left. It doesn't matter. You'll look back up to find the mist has disappeared. The horizon has returned. The intersection is ordinary. You'll go back to your route. You'll do your best to laugh it all off. But part of you will always wonder just which side you're on. Thank you for listening, everyone. I want to give a special thank you to the authors of these 3 stories. They are incredible writers. Please check out their work in the description below. And as always, stay haunted, my friends.